Welcome back to my channel. You already know it's your boyhood Diggity the Rock Reactor back with another video. Yes, sir. Before I proceed, let me know where you tapping in from. Let me know what country, what city, what mountain, what hill, what cave, what island, what planet, what universe. Let me know where you at. Represent your hood. Yes, sir. A plethora of love to my Ukraine. A world of peace to my Ukraine. As I stand with God, I stand with Ukraine. Yes, sir. So let's see what's going on with the news, guys. I'm a little sick. I've been sick. I just got a sickness I just can't get rid of. I don't know why. Excuse me, I had to mute that. But anyway, guys, I'm a little bit excited. I got this Canal 13 coming up on my feed, so I try to cover the news every morning. And the reason why I try to cover the news again, guys, I'm going to repeat it, is because I want to learn. I want to see what's going on. I want to stay up to date. I state my opinion based on what I see, guys. And then what I do is I read the comments. And find out exactly what's going on based on the people that are actually there. And that's basically my objective here. So basically, we got Russian fleet and military bases leaving Crimea. It's aviation's turn. Ukraine takes control. You know, when I read this, I've seen a video before that said that there's no way that Ukraine can take back Crimea. And I always wonder why. I want the people from Ukraine to tell me why they can't take it back. Right now, they got the upper hand on the war. Based on what I'm seeing, they got the upper hand. So why is it that they cannot take it? And why is it that they cannot take all their territory back and things go back to the way they were? Because I've always compared it with if my neighbor comes and steals all the shit in my house, and then I'm gonna go over there and we're gonna fight. We're gonna have a war. Then all of a sudden we're gonna end up having a truce and having peace. But you're gonna keep all my shit. We ain't gonna have peace like that. That's not peace. So that's the way I basically be comparing it. But anyway, guys, let's take a look. Like I said, guys, I need your opinion. Let me know your opinion. Let me know what's going on. If this is fake news, if some of this is fake, some of this is not, please let me know, guys. Let's get right to it. And before we do, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. Any donations to my channel will be greatly appreciated. My PayPal account is on the description. Let's get right to it. Let's get to the news.
The Russian air defense system at the Kacha airfield in occupied Crimea proved unprepared to counter Ukrainian attack drones. According to expert Pavlo Lakichuk, head of security programs at the Strategy 21 Center for Global Studies, the Russians will either have to abandon the airfield or risk further losses of aircraft, as reported by the Kiev 24 broadcast. The strikes on Kacha are accompanied by spectacular raids by our naval and other drones on Sochi, Tuapse, and Novorossiysk. Not only is Novorossiysk now the main naval base for the Russians who fled Crimea, but it's also Russia's main oil loading ports, where oil is transshipped onto those same tankers of the Shadow Fleet, Lakichuk noted. Under these circumstances, the withdrawal of Russia's military bases from Crimea is considered inevitable. The expert added that the enemy could give up on Kacha and redeploy its equipment or leave it in place. As they say, if it's already burning, then let us all burn together, he emphasized.
Hold up, guys. I didn't understand that right here. Right here.
Under these circumstances, the withdrawal of Russia's military bases from Crimea is considered inevitable.
Okay,
The expert added that the enemy could give up on Kacha and redeploy its equipment or leave it in place. As they say, if it's already burning, then let us all burn together, he emphasized. According to Lakichuk, the occupiers' air defenses proved to be leaky. Or rather, they weren't leaky, they were unprepared for the methods our intelligence and special services used to strike deep behind enemy lines, the expert added. Serhiy Bratchuk, A spokesman for the Ukrainian Volunteer Army noted that the Ukrainian Defense Forces have intensified strikes against enemy targets in temporarily occupied Crimea. He stated that Ukrainian aircraft may soon appear over the peninsula and that the intensified attacks are part of a response to Russia's so-called summer offensive. Crimea has not disappeared from the agenda. Today, the intensification of attacks on Russian facilities in occupied Crimea continues. This intensification is actually part of the response to the so-called summer offensive on the Russians. Indeed, we are talking about the fact that today, the defense forces of Ukraine continue to work very actively in Crimea. These are ground, air, and sea operations. There is the destruction of Russian air defense facilities, the destruction of sea facilities, and the destruction of ground facilities, in particular railway facilities. After all, the Russian railway today remains a key logistical artery.
Guys, I've seen a video somewhere where they were talking about what amount of territory can Ukraine take back, and someone said that they definitely cannot take Crimea back. They could only take Crimea back through diplomacy. But I don't understand that, because Russia didn't take it over through diplomacy. So how is it that they have to take Ukraine has to take their territory back through diplomacy? I'm not understanding that. And they was also showing it's actually a big chunk of Ukraine that Russia has already invaded and taken over, occupied, as they say. So I'm wondering, why is it that if they got the upper hand right now, if Ukraine has the upper hand, why not just fight to take all the territory back, or most of it? Look, as I see here in Crimea, they have the upper hand. Why not just occupy it just the same way they did?
For the army of the invaders, said Reactor. The Ukrainian Defense Forces are actively working on Russian military facilities in Crimea. This activity is also aimed at exhausting the enemy's air defense. This stage has been going on for quite some time. With such actions, our units of the armed forces of Ukraine are paving the way for our other firepower. I will not speak for the Flamingo and Neptune missiles now, but the path is being paved. Therefore, I think that soon, of course not tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, but over time, Ukrainian aircraft may appear in the sky over Crimea, which will strike at ground targets, he stressed. The Security Service of Ukraine, SBU, is strengthening drone sanctions against Russia.
So once again, guys, I want to ask, can you guys tell me, can Ukraine, or can Crimea be restored? Can Crimea be restored? Can Crimea be restored back to its rightful owner? Back to Ukraine? Please let me know that. I think right here they have other news also.
This has begun targeting targets across enemy territory, and Russians should get used to it. Military expert Alexei Kopytko writes about this. According to Kopytko, Trump's rhetoric has changed, in part under the influence of drone strikes in Russia. Let's return to the traditional kid and friends impose sanctions column. Something's constantly burning in Crimea. There are strikes on Moscow, Astrakhan, and Bashkortostan. In the latter, SBU drones attacked one of the largest full-size.
Somebody in the comments said that Trump works for the KGB, that Trump is just a Russian operative, that Trump works for Putin. If Trump works for Putin, then he's a damn traitor, man. With friends like that, who needs enemies?
Cycle processing facilities for the second time, the expert writes. The expert notes that the entire Russian territory from the Baltic to the Urals is currently under fire. For the second time in a short period of time, the SBU has used drones to reach a distance of 1,400 kilometers. This is an astonishing achievement. What's significant is not only the fact of the attack itself, but also the fact that it's a repeat strike, but Russia is unable to repel it. Kopytko believes Russia's opportunities for generating excess profits are now limited Russia is already forced to raise VAT to 22% and is objectively bogged down in war, the expert concludes. As a reminder, it was previously reported that SBU drones struck Gazprom Neftekhim Salavat in Bashkortostan, Russia, for the second time in a week. This is one of Russia's largest oil refineries and petrochemical plants. It produces 150 different products, including motor gasoline, diesel fuel, fuel oil, bitumen, and polyethylene. The target site is approximately 1,400 kilometers from Ukrainian territory. Recently, Russia's two largest oil ports on the Black Sea have stopped loading oil onto tankers following overnight Ukrainian drone strikes on Russian territory, Bloomberg reports. The incident concerned two strategically important facilities near Novorossiysk, the Caspian Pipeline Consortium Terminal and the Sheskharis oil depot. Caspian Pipeline Consortium reported that the suspension of operations was due to airstrikes. Regarding the oil depot, no official explanation has yet been provided. It is only known that operations at the facility have been temporarily suspended. Both terminals handle over 2 million barrels of oil per day from Russia and Kazakhstan, playing a key role in the global energy supply system. Since early August, Ukraine has dramatically intensified its attacks on Russian oil assets, prompting the Kremlin to ban gasoline exports and consider restrictions on diesel fuel. These attacks have focused on oil refineries, but ports and pumping stations have also been targeted. The report states,
You know, guys, I would love to understand Russia's logic. Russia's getting weaker by the minute. Russia is apparently going to be caught in two wars at once. He's there's a NATO war coming soon because he's poking at Russia's poking at NATO. Then they got Ukraine, which is kicking their ass right now. So I don't understand Russia's logic. They're losing money by the minute. They're losing infrastructure. They're getting bombed out. I mean, why is it that they don't just call off the war? Their citizens are in deep threat of getting bombed. Don't they care about their citizens? What is the logic? Their soldiers are tired. The soldiers no longer want to fight. They're exhausted. They're losing territory by the minute. They're losing all their infrastructure is getting bombed. Their cities are about to get bombed. What is Russia's logic? Can somebody explain to me what is Russia's logic? Why not just stop the war, quit while you're ahead, and move on?
According to a Kyiv military expert, the country simply vitally needs to continue attacks on the Russian oil refining industry, as this is the only way to win the war. Other methods are either difficult or impossible. Military expert, pilot instructor, and retired Ukrainian colonel Roman Svitan expressed this opinion on Radio NV. The Russian army can be defeated, for example, in Crimea or the land bridge, even now when Russia is strong. But we won't liberate Donbass without the collapse of Russia. Beyond Donbass, there are another 7,000 kilometers of Russian rear with its industry and population. And driving the Russian army out of Donbass is only possible with the collapse of Russia, brought about by non-military mechanisms. That is, through pressure on the Russian economy. Svitan explained. He added that a significant portion of the Russian economy is based on oil and gas sales. Therefore, Ukraine was wrong to suspend its smashing strikes in March of this year, relying on agreements and seeking peace. Ultimately, Russia recovered, and now Kyiv is forced to make up for lost time and suffer for itself. We must reduce the flow of these petrodollars as much as possible. Then, not only will Ukraine be liberated, but all the other republics will be free to move forward. And the Russian army too, since any army stems from the state. So if the state collapses, there will be no army. Only then will we be able to liberate our territory. Work on Russian oil refineries has been ongoing since August. If no one stops the attacks, they will set the printing press in motion by the end of the year. Moscow will have to work under these conditions for another year and then collapse and ruin by 2027. That's the dream of the Ukrainian Russophobe, he said. Recently, Ukrainian armed forces launched another attack on 2 strategic Russian oil refineries in Saratov and Samara Oblast. Together, they produced over 15 million tons of oil annually.
See, so every time that happens, every time Ukraine bombs one of those oil refineries, Russia is crippled. And they don't even see it.
Or over 5% of Russia's total. Damage assessments are underway at the refineries. Russia's 2 largest oil ports on the Black Sea have halted oil loading onto tankers following overnight drone strikes by Ukraine. Bloomberg reports. Preliminarily, the reports refer to 2 major terminals near Novorossiysk in Russia, the Caspian Pipeline Consortium terminal, and the Sheskharis oil depot, while the SRS stated that the halt was solely due to air raid alerts. Exact details regarding the Sheskharis depot are not yet available beyond the fact that operations have stopped. Together, these 2 terminals export over 2 million barrels of oil per day from Russia and Kazakhstan. Caspian Pipeline Consortium and Sheskharis are key parts of the global oil supply chain, which transports more than 400 million barrels per day. Ukraine has radically increased its targeting of Russian oil assets since the start of August, a step that has prompted the Kremlin to ban gasoline exports and consider curbs on diesel. Those attacks have centered on refineries, but ports and pumping stations have also become targets. The outlet adds.
You know, guys, I can just imagine the Russian citizens like Moscow. I can imagine the gas prices in Moscow. They must be up in the clouds. It must be crazy. And then the fact that they got to be stressing because they got to worry about them being bombed. Guys, I'm going to keep saying this. I'm scared of a scenario where Russia's about to collapse. Russia gets desperate and Russia starts using nuclear weapons, and I'm scared of a catastrophic scenario. I'm kind of scared of that. I know that Ukraine right now has the upper hand. Ukraine is kicking the ass, but I'm very scared if Russia sees themselves cornered and decides to just use nuclear weapons. And like I said, I'm scared of a catastrophic scenario, guys. Guys, let me know, man. Let me know all these things. What is Russia's logic? Can Crimea be restored back to Ukraine? Can the other territories be restored back to Ukraine? At least most of it. And why don't the Russians just say, listen, I give up, throw the towel, I give up, let me take what I can, boom, and let's do this. Because even they crippled and they still want to fight. They still want to continue to fight. They obviously don't care about their Russian citizens being in danger. Anyway, guys, let me know all these things. And, of course, subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. Any donations to this channel will be greatly appreciated. My PayPal account is on the description. Love you, Ukraine. Peace, love, and God bless.